And welcome to this week's edition of the Life and Legacy Show, sponsored by the Sechler Law Firm, where great families make great plans. My name is Tim Sechler, and I thank you for checking out our little show here, where we try to give people some great information when it comes to estate planning, all things estate planning, elder law, and how to put together a proper plan for your family. As I have to do each and every week on this radio show, is I have to give you my little lawyer disclaimer, and my little lawyer disclaimer goes like this. You should not make any decisions based on what you hear on this or any other radio show. This show is for your information and your education. If you need legal advice, you should reach out to an attorney for that advice, because this stuff can get pretty complicated. We're available all the time at sechlerlawfirm.com, SECHLER lawfirm.com. And while you're on the website, you can check out all the content we put out. We've got lots and lots of these radio shows. We have lots of videos that we've done, and you should cruise around. So what are we talking about this week? This week, it is exciting. It's a super exciting week for us around here, because it is Estate Planning Awareness Month in October. You know, it's kind of funny sometimes, these months. Every month has about 17 different things you're supposed to be aware of, but October is Estate Planning Awareness Month, and in honor of Estate Planning Awareness Month, what I wanted to do is just get you like a ton of great information. And so what I'm going to do is this week's show and next week's show, we're going to break down into the 15 things I think you ought to know about estate planning. So 15 things I wish my clients knew, or my prospective clients knew, about estate planning. And just, it's going to be a fire hose of information. You're going to learn an awful lot on this show. And hopefully, you know, the whole purpose of Estate Planning Awareness Month, usually when there's an awareness month for something, it's because there's something going on where there's a problem that you should be aware of, and by becoming aware of, maybe you'll take some action to fix that problem. And so when it comes to estate planning, these are the things that I think if people knew all these things, there'd be a lot more people doing estate planning. And so let's just get to it. So one of the things I wish people knew about estate planning is that estate planning is not just about death planning. Okay, so I have a friend who is similarly situated in life, in his 40s, has kids, and one day I was talking to him and I asked him, "Do you have an estate plan?" And he, like most Americans, doesn't have an estate plan. He's got little kids, and I said, you probably ought to do this. You know what I do for a living, right, buddy? And he's like, well, I don't want to think about that because I don't want to have to talk about death and dying. And you know, this is one of the most common things I think that people run into when they go to consider doing something like an estate plan, is they think it's just about talking about death for weeks on end. And the reality is, when done properly, estate planning is way more than death planning. Estate planning takes into consideration how we want our kids to be raised. It takes into consideration, if I get sick and I'm incapacitated, who's the decision maker around here? You know, I work for lots of reasons. I get up in the morning, I go to work. I could stay home, but I go to work. Why? Because I need to accumulate some stuff so that I can have a great lifestyle, so that my kids get great education. And, you know, those obligations, my wife has a nice life, my kids have good education, those obligations might survive me. You know, if I do pass away, I need to make sure that those things are still met. But that, at its core, is not really about estate planning. It's not just about what happens when I pass away. It's about making sure that my wife has that good retirement, that I have the good retirement, even if I get sick later. And so, yeah, I understand these things aren't always fun to think about. But it's not just about death planning. It's also planning for the living. It's planning for our kids. It's planning for our family members and ourselves in the event that we're sick and sort of lose control. So the first thing I wish that people understood is it's not just about having to think about when you pass away. There's a whole lot that goes into this. Another thing I wish that people knew about estate planning, here in honor of Estate Planning Awareness Week, is that estate planning is not just for wealthy people. All right, so I have to have an estate. You know, you can almost picture somebody talking about my estate with like a snifter of something expensive and a pipe. You know, I have my estate. Well, estate planning isn't just for wealthy people. Sure, wealthy people have to do estate planning, but estate planning is really just more about life. It's you know, we all have things we care about, and some of us have more money than others, and some of us have kids and others don't. But we have to plan for that. Estate planning is really more about our family and caring about each other, caring about our spouse, caring about our children. It's more about making sure that the people are provided for and the right decision makers are in place than it is about tax planning or transfers of large sums of net worth. So you don't have to be rich to do an estate plan. You have to care about somebody. And if you care about somebody, whether that be a spouse, whether that be a sibling, whether that be your child, whether that be your parent, whether that might be even a nonprofit, but if you care about somebody, we need to plan for that. We need to plan to make sure not just that they get the stuff, but that they get the stuff with the right restrictions and rules of engagement. If my kid is entitled to receive some inheritance when he's still young, who's in control? How are we going to make sure that my kid doesn't turn into a jerk after I'm gone? We need to plan for that. And it doesn't take a lot of money to love somebody. We all love somebody. Estate planning is making sure that love survives us, right? So if something does happen to me, I've got a plan for my kids, regardless of how many dollar signs are attached to that plan. So a thing I wish about estate planning was that estate planning, I wish that people knew that estate planning wasn't just for wealthy people. And this is the kind of thing that we're going to talk about. So we're having a great event on October the 23rd at our event center in Warrendale. It's at 6 o'clock in the evening. And it's our Family Legacy Workshop. So this is a one-time event. We're doing this for Estate Planning Awareness Week. And the whole idea of this is just to provide some information. This is not a high-pressure sales environment. Leave your pocketbook at home. Just come and learn the difference between wills and trust. Understand why a young family might use these tools. Understand why an older family might use these tools, because we all have different concerns. And so this is going to be a general information. If you've been on the fence about doing some estate planning and you just want to know where to get started and what this stuff is all about, our Family Legacy Workshop on October 23rd at 6 p.m. at our event center in Warrendale is going to be a great event. You can register for it by going to sechlerlawfirm.com. Right when you get to Sechler Law Firm, which is SECHLER lawfirm.com, right when you get there, there's a video of me, and then right below that, it is register for the Family Legacy Workshop. If you click that link, you need to register because we expect this thing will get pretty crowded. It may fill up, and we want to make sure that you reserve your seat. So the Family Legacy Workshop, October 23rd. Now, let's talk about another thing I wish that people knew about estate planning. Another thing I wish that people knew was that most people don't have a plan. Now, you may think you have a plan because maybe you have a document, right? So you may think you have a plan, but a document is not a plan. If you have a simple will, let's say you got a will from an attorney who didn't talk to you about anything else, or if you got a will online, that's a start, but that's not a plan, right? Because when done properly, the documents that we lawyers create for you create trust for our loved ones, minors, disabled people, even for ourselves. And what happens when people do a will-based plan is they never align the financial assets with the plan. So I'll give you an example. I have little kids. It is important to me that if I would pass away young, my wife would pass away, let's say we get creamed by a drunk driver. Okay, now my kids are entitled to an inheritance. It is important to me that a family member is in control of that money until the kids turn at least 25 years old, because we don't want them to get the money at 18 or 21. It's just simply too young. And so it's a thing I've committed to. It's in the estate planning documents. But then I've also got an IRA and life insurance. IRA and life insurance assets are not subject to the terms of a will because they typically have a beneficiary designation on them. So I might have a will that says that the inheritance my child is entitled to receive doesn't really become theirs until 25. Somebody else is involved until that age. But if my kid is simply the beneficiary on a life insurance policy, he's going to get that money on his 21st birthday, and now my goals and my objectives are not accomplished, right? So this is the difference between having a document and having a plan. When at its core, why do you go see a lawyer to do this? Because there's more to it than you think. There's financial beneficiary alignments that need to go and take place. We need to have conversations with your financial folks. There's a difference between purchasing a document and having a true estate plan. And most people don't even have a document. I mean, there's something like 2/3 of American adults don't even have a will, let alone the fact that the third that have done some planning, it's not a comprehensive plan. So this is a big problem. And we're talking about a thing that is essentially inevitable unless you know something I don't have, is we all are going to pass away. So that can take place one of two ways, with a plan or without. And I'm telling you, it's a better thing for your family to have thought this through a little bit. So that's the thing I wish people knew about having an estate plan. So another thing that I wish people knew about estate planning here in honor of Estate Planning Awareness Week is that most people should use a trust of some sort. Okay, now this isn't a blanket thing where one size fits all, but there is this concept of a trust that you ought to give some consideration to. And basically what a trust is it's a legal entity that the estate plan creates that can own assets. And then we get to put some terms and conditions on who makes decisions with regard to the assets and who can access the money that is owned by the trust. So a couple of examples why you probably should use a trust. One, young families. You got little kids, you should have a trust because the state will give your young kids their inheritance on their 21st birthday. Most of us agree that 21 is too young to come into like term life insurance money or some big sum of money. We probably want that number to be more like 25 or 30. And the only mechanism that makes sense to hold that money between the ages of 21 and 25 or 21 and 30, whatever you decide, is a trust. There should be a trust incorporated in the estate plan. You love your kids. You don't want your kids to turn into little jerks. I mean, that's like our one job as a parent is to raise good humans, right? And if I pass away when my kid is 13, I still want that kid to turn out to be a good human. And what I know is coming into a bag of money on the 21st birthday is not going to help that cause. And so we got to do a little bit more planning. So a thing I wish people knew about estate planning is that they should probably incorporate a trust. Now, that was an example for a young family. What about an example for an older family? Let's think about retirement age folks. So the kids are out of the house. You're an empty nester. Why should you consider a trust? We're not worried about planning for youngsters probably. Well, what about long-term care protection? What about protecting that savings that you have from your biggest financial risk that you have in life, which is what happens if one of the two of you needs a nursing home? You know, the Alzheimer's Association came and did an event for our clients recently, and 1 in 3 seniors that reach the age of 85 are going to have dementia. 1 in 3 of us. And, you know, when you take a look at the staggering costs associated with the care of dementia or any of the other ailments impacting seniors, you know, this is pretty important stuff. And so with a proper estate plan, using a trust, we can take some real precautions. We can protect the value of your house. We can protect some money from those long-term care expenses. And most people should give this some consideration. And this is the type of thing that we're going to talk about at the upcoming Family Legacy Workshop, which we're holding at our office on October 23rd at 6 p.m. So our office is at 500 Commonwealth Drive in Warrendale. This is going to be a great event. It's not going to be a high-pressure thing. We're doing this special event for Estate Planning Awareness Month, where we're just given a bunch of free information. I mean, this is information we would typically provide in a paid consultation. We're doing it for free as part of this group. And listen, leave your pocketbook and your wallet at home. There's not going to be some sales pitch where you got to rush to the back of the room and buy it tonight. I mean, obviously, we'd like to earn your business if you want to do some estate planning. But the purpose of this is really just in honor of the fact that we're recognizing Estate Planning Awareness Month is October. We decided to put on a big event to try to get some information out there about the things that people should know to create a great estate plan. And so this is going to be a great event, and we're going to make it relevant for everybody. So if you are the retiree looking to maybe protect assets from long-term care and avoid probate, we're going to have great information about that. If you're a younger family and what you're looking to do is to understand how to plan for little kids, great. We're going to have information on that too. In fact, bring the kids. We're going to have I'm going to have some cornhole and some snacks and some games. Bring the kids. I got little kids. I don't mind the screaming in the background. So bring the kids to this event on October 23rd, 6 p.m. But you do have to register. So how do you register? Go to SechlerLawFirm.com, SECHLER lawfirm.com. And when you get to SechlerLawFirm.com, there's a video of me welcoming you to the website. And then right below that video there's a link for the Family Legacy Workshop. click that link and make sure you register and tell us how many people you're bringing. We have a nice event center, but we do expect this thing to be pretty crowded and probably fill up. So, but if you want to come check it out, low pressure, great information. Family Legacy Workshop, October 23, 6 p.m. in Warrendale. We'd love to meet you there. What's another thing that I wish people knew about estate planning? Is that most plans don't work. So let's talk through that. Most plans don't work. What does that mean? Well, listen, just like I was saying in one of the previous points about little kids, for example. I've got little kids, and I need a trust for those little kids to make sure that their uncle, if I pass away, their uncle is in control of the money until a certain age, and I need to align the beneficiary designations to that trust. Okay, now, even if you work with an attorney that knows what they're doing, okay, we put a good plan in place, a good set of documents in place. That doesn't necessarily mean that everything is going to work, because one of the dirty little secrets in our industry, I'll give you a look behind the curtain. One of the dirty little secrets in the estate planning industry is that attorneys will sell their clients a trust. Okay, now trusts are a great idea. There's nothing wrong with the trust. We do a lot of trusts. So a client will engage an attorney to prepare a trust document. Great, good first step. The dirty little secret is they miss the next step. And the next step is most law firms don't fund trusts. Okay, so there are attorneys out there that would propose that you do a trust to avoid probate, for example. All right, now, probate is the administration of a will, and it can be expensive and time-consuming and be a headache generally. And so lawyers will say you should do a trust to avoid probate. Now, the trust only works to the extent that it owns something when you pass away. So the retitling of assets could be the primary residence, could be investment accounts, could be real estate, other real estate, could be cash accounts. The trust only works if we retitle those assets into the trust. The trust has to own those assets when you pass away for it to work as it's designed. Most law firms don't help people with this. So what happens is you sign this expensive set of documents, and then at the back of the set of documents, there's this funding instruction letter, and it says, hey, if you would like this trust to actually work, you need to go to all your financial institutions and move your money around and retitle them, and then there's this complicated language. And people see that and they look at it and they say, okay, I'm going to go do it. But then they get one step into it and realize it's complicated and time-consuming, and they just simply give up. And so most people who are instructed that you need to go fund your trust on your own, the truth is that it almost never gets done because it is a bit of a pain in the neck. And most lawyers don't do it for their clients. Or if they do it for the clients, they charge $400 an hour, and people don't want to pay $400 an hour. And the result is this estate plan isn't going to work. Now, the way that we've decided to handle this is like everything else we do at our law firm. We are an education-first law firm. We have classes on trust. We have classes on taxes. We have classes on to teach your kids about their future roles and responsibilities with the estate plan. And we now have workshops on funding. Okay, so if you get some complicated estate planning form from your financial institution, we want you to bring it to this class where we have an attorney present who will help you fill out the form. And we're not doing this for $400 an hour. We're doing it as part of our Red Wagon Club, our ongoing membership program. So it's a heck of a lot more affordable. And at the end of the day, the entire process was designed to reduce billable hours and make sure that that trust actually gets funded, because we care that our clients' trusts actually work, right? So one of the things that I wish that people knew about estate plans is that a lot of these plans fail because they're not properly funded. Now, what does that mean for the lawyer? What that means for the lawyer is the client ended up passing away, and they have this trust that was designed to avoid probate. The family didn't fund the trust, and so now when the person passes away, the trust wasn't properly funded, so we got to go through probate anyway, and guess who gets the legal fees for doing the probate? So, this is a dirty little secret in the estate planning business, and it's what gives trust a bad name. But the lesson is there's nothing wrong with the trust. Trusts are great tools. They have to be properly funded to work. And this is a thing I wish people understood about estate planning. It's why we have funding workshops for our Red Wagon Club members, because the estate plan needs to work. It needs to work today. It needs to work tomorrow. And a lot of these plans don't work as they're designed. So if you want to learn more information about avoiding mistakes in estate planning, like failing to fund the trust, come check out our Family Legacy Workshop that we're having October 23 in honor of Estate Planning Awareness Month. It's going to be at 6 p.m. at our office in Warrendale. We have this educational event center, 500 Commonwealth Drive in Warrendale. You can register for it by going to SechlerLawFirm.com, SECHLER lawfirm.com. And when you go to SechlerLawFirm.com, you're going to see a video of me, and right below the video there's a button you can hit for the Family Legacy Workshop. And you're going to come and you're going to have a great hour and a half of information. This is not a heavy sales pitch. It's general information about estate planning. So we're going to define wills and powers of attorney and trust, different types of trust. We're going to talk about estate planning for young families. So young families, you want to bring the kids with you, bring the stroller right in. We'll have some snacks. We'll have plenty of play space for them to run around. I don't care how much noise they make. This is an educational and fun event. This is not something. So go ahead and leave your wallet or your pocketbook at home. You're not hiring us at the event. Obviously, we would like to earn your business, but this is not a giant sales pitch. It's just for your general information. We're doing this for Estate Planning Awareness Week. If maybe you don't have little kids, you want to learn about probate avoidance or asset protection from long-term care, we're going to talk about that stuff too. So this is a starting point. You're going to come, you're going to check us out and get to know if you think that we know what we're talking about. Are we a good fit for you? And start the process of getting some education, because it's time to get this estate plan, the idea of doing an estate plan, off the back burner, onto the front burner, and get the thing done. And so that's what we're going to be doing on October 23rd. I hope you can join us, but you have to register. Go to the link and register, because if you fail to register, we're going to run out of seats and you're going to miss your opportunity. And, the information that we're presenting is essentially the same thing that we would present in a $500 initial consultation. So don't miss out the opportunity to save yourself $500 on the educational piece. Okay. Another thing, another reason that I wish people knew about estate planning in honor of Estate Planning Awareness Month is that your power of attorney probably stinks. Right now, this is assuming, of course, that you have a power of attorney document, which most people don't. So if you don't have a power of attorney document, you are wrong. Anybody from 18 to 85 should have, or older, should have a power of attorney document, because any of us could become sick and any of us could have a stroke or a head injury, and we need somebody to help make decisions for us. And so if you don't have a power of attorney, you need to do a power of attorney, and we'll talk an awful lot about that. But if you do have a power of attorney, there's a significant chance it stinks. And so you can feel free to bring it to the Family Legacy Workshop on October 23rd. What do I mean about it stinks? Well, the power of attorney is a document that names decision makers at the beginning, and then it says all these things that the decision maker is allowed to do. One of those paragraphs typically involves the agent, your power of attorney's ability to do gifting, to give assets away. Unfortunately, there's two ways that this occurs. The most common way that it occurs in these documents is that the power of attorney has what's called limited gifting ability, the ability to give limited gifts, which this year would be about $18,000, to your family members. Okay, so, all right. And then the second is unlimited gifting. We can give away all your stuff to your family members, and then not to just anybody, to the people who would otherwise inherit if you passed away. We're able to transfer assets to them while you're alive but sick. So why would you want to authorize someone else to be able to give away all of your stuff? And the answer is because about a half a dozen times a month in my little law firm, we're contacted by a family where someone is sick and they need in-home care, they need nursing home care, and they're trying to figure out how to get that care paid for. And one of the things that always comes up is that are there things that we can do to become eligible for Medicaid benefits to pay for the care? Can the state pay for the nursing home? And the answer is, yeah, there's a lot of things we can do in those situations. But if the person who needs nursing home care is incapacitated, they've got a dementia or a stroke, we're relying on the power of attorney document to do those maneuvers, right? Now, almost all of those strategies require that the person who is serving as the power of attorney has the legal authority to transfer the stuff to the kids or to a trust or to other family members. And so there are situations where a person enters the nursing home and we need to move all their stuff to the healthy spouse in order to protect the stuff. But unfortunately, we're now relying on a power of attorney document. And if it does not have unlimited gifting language, if it's one of the limited gifting power of attorney documents, that stinks. Now we don't have the ability to move the money and we may lose the house. And so one of the things that I wish people knew about estate planning is that your power of attorney probably stinks and needs updated. And this is the stuff that we're going to be talking about at the Family Legacy Workshop at our event center in Warrendale on October 23rd at 6 p.m. This is for all ages. Bring the little kids. Let them scream. I don't care. We're going to talk about planning for little kids. We're going to talk to older people about planning for long-term care. And it's just an information workshop. Leave your pocketbook at home. But come and get some great information and figure out if my law firm is the right fit for you. So if that makes sense, go to sechlerlawfirm.com and register for the Family Legacy Workshop. Listen, folks, I appreciate you listening to this show. Remember, this is for your general information. Nothing in the show is legal advice. I'm not yet your lawyer, though I'd love to earn your business. So if you'd like to learn more about us, come to the Family Legacy Workshop on October 23rd at 6 p.m. Thanks for listening.